welcome to our latest chat with a former Rovers player who's going to pick his 1 to 11. As you can see, it's Graham Gartland with us for this particular one. Graham, good to chat to you. Obviously, you started off League of Ireland-wise briefly with St. Pat's just as a kid and didn't really play for them, but it all started for you with Longford, and what a time you had with Longford, you know, the 2 FAI Cup wins in a row, then Drogheda winning the league and the cup. So that was actually 3 FAI Cups in a row, which was incredible. Off you went to Scotland with St. Johnstone, back then to Shamrock Rovers, and finished up with Shelbourne. So just for the purposes of what we're doing today, you're not going to include the Scottish league. It's only players that you've played with in League of Ireland, am I right?
Yeah, that's what we decided. Yeah, just go with stuff like that, so that people who are watching, obviously the Rovers lads or the Rovers fans and stuff will know the majority of the players.
Well, listen, before we get into your 1 to 11, let's just have a quick chat about what you're doing at the moment. I suppose a bit like ourselves with the lockdown over in the UK, it's kind of restricts you a bit.
Yeah, everything just shut down here. I think we were a week behind and everything just shut down, and there's no football. They're still arguing about it over here now, whether to end the SPL. That's probably look like it's going to be resolved in the next week. I think they're going to cancel that. But they've cancelled the Championship, League 1 and League 2. Down in England, they've cancelled League 2 now as well, from what I heard today. That's just been announced. So there's no football, and it's a massive industry over in the UK. Like, you know, it's a little bit more of a business than it would be in Ireland. So it's hit a lot of clubs hard. The same way it is in Ireland, in fairness. Yeah. But it's just like you said, just bunker down and do the best you can, and try and keep your kids as entertained as possible, and keep probably the vulnerable safe as you can.
Yeah. Well, I know you have a 3-year-old and a 5-year-old with you in the house there, so if they come in and interrupt you, they'll be welcome to have a chat as well. But just from your own point of view, Graham, obviously you were working in Scotland, but there's a possibility, or am I right in saying that a return to Rovers could be on the cards?
Yeah, I'd left the job. I was doing a bit of consultancy work up until probably near the end of February, and then I've always stayed in touch with people at Rovers. I spoke to Jonathan Roach probably once a month, speak to Shane Robinson the same once a month, and would speak to Stephen Bradley as often as I can as well, because, like, as you'll see, these are ex-teammates of mine, but they're also friends. So I'd always stayed in touch with them about how the academy was doing through Shane, and then obviously speak to Stephen about first team and just in general. So yeah, as Jonathan had said, like, would I be interested in coming back? It was something I wanted to do. I wanted to just go back coaching. I really enjoy coaching. I actually really enjoy coaching younger kids. I just think it's pure, like, there's a pureness in them, you know. And when you deal with older players, you'll see that, like, that the younger players have it. You're not second guessing their thoughts. They know that they're 100% in with you, like.
So that's, I mean, once this lockdown eventually comes to an end, we can expect to see you back at the academy.
To be honest, I don't know, because obviously Jonathan has to make sure that all his staff at the moment are looked after, and everybody at the club is looked after. And that's the most important, is that the people at the club who have gone through this and set tight. And I know the staff and the players have taken a 25% pay cut, which is brilliant. So they just have to make sure that they're looked after first. And whatever happens with me, you know, Rovers don't owe me anything. They were brilliant to me in the time that I coached there. They were great to me when I played. So I felt, because of the year I had where I didn't play as much as I wanted and didn't perform the way I wanted, I just went in and coached and thought, well, I'll give back. I'll try and give back this way, because as you see, I'm from Jobstown, just up the road. So that's I always considered it's my area, and I always wanted to try and better my area, and putting an academy into Tala was really important for myself, and Stephen Bradley as well, because he's from across the road from me. And then Shane, Steve and myself are the ones that, you know, and with Jonathan were the driving ones, like, you know, especially Jonathan, and then we sort of help drive it through coaching and getting the players in.
Yeah, the roots. You're right, though, when you think of Stephen, you know, and yourself and Robbo as well. All the roots very much in Tala, which is great, you know. So let's get into your 1 to 11 then. And as I said, you had like a lot of success. You played with some really good players down through your career in the league. But if we were going to go for a goalkeeper, who have you gone for number one?
I'd probably go with, for his longevity, it'd probably be Alan Manus. I didn't play with Alan in the league. I played with him when he came to Scotland, when he just left Rovers. But obviously Rovers fans know him, and I think, to be honest, him signing for Rovers when he did just like kicked them on another level. He just brought a calmness to them. The other goalkeeper I played with that was really good was Dan Connor, who I played with Drogheda, but Dan retired young because of a bad hip injury. But so in terms of Alan's we played against Alan in the Setanta Cup final with Linfield back in 2007, and he was man of the match. He was brilliant, and he just has a assuredness about him, like Alan. He's very hard to ruffle, Alan. He's so calm and relaxing about everything. But I wouldn't mess with it. He's into the MMA and all the fighting and stuff.
Is he?
Yeah, he is. And I was joking around in the gym with him in St. Johnstone, and I jumped on him, joking like I thought, you like your wrestling, and I jumped on him. The worst thing I've done. Because all that, I says, I'll get Alan, because I know he likes the MMA. Rolling around the mat room, he just pinned me like arm lock. I was like, right, I just started like tapping out. Like I said, that's enough. But he was good. I got on well with Alan when he was there at St. Johnstone as well. He was a good lad. But in terms of the longevity of his career, Northern Irish International, I'd go with Alan Manus.
Yeah, 2 spells at Rovers as well, and a really successful second spell now as well. So Alan Manus in goal. Right back, number 2?
Right back, number 2. This is the problem I'm having is with me back 4 is balancing it. I'd probably go with Brian Shelley. Brian Shelley has to be in my back 4, but I'd go with Brian. I think Brian is probably the last defender to win Player of the Year, if I'm right.
Oh, you could be right now. That's a sick question.
He got Player of the Year in 2007, and he was just excellent. I really enjoyed playing with Brian. A lot of the players that I pick are players that I just felt comfortable with and I trusted, and everybody else trusted. But Brian had ridiculous recovery pace, really good on the ball, dribbling out. I played centre-back with him a lot in my last season at Drogheda, and the assurance he gave you because of his recovery pace, but great lad, really, really good lad in the dressing room, He wasn't the fittest when he came to us, and we had to run him a bit to get him going, and he was like, this is a joke. But eventually, once he got going, he was excellent, really, really good.
And of course, it got the move to England and so on afterwards as well.
I think he went to Bowes after us, and then he's out in New Zealand now. He went to Australia and played football. He went to Bowes.
New Zealand is a bit further away than England. Yeah.
So coaching over there, but he's a good lad. Another one that you stay in touch with, like just really good teammate and somebody you trusted. But for him to get voted Player of the Year at right back, and it was at the time we probably owned here, he was the best right back in the league, and Seamus Coleman was just coming. And Brian Gorra, he was brilliant. He was a standout that season.
I think Sean Gannon has been nominated a few times, but I think he hasn't got the top gone down the years. All right, despite being I think in the Team of the Year for 7 seasons.
Brian played with Rovers as well.
Oh yeah. So he's your right back. Left back number 3.
I'm going to go with Sean Dillon. You'd remember Sean. I played with Sean at Longford. Had a year and a half from, but Sean was obviously my age group as well, coming up with the Ireland squads. Again, really, really quick, really assured, both footed, can play anywhere across the back 4. I played centre back with him in the 04 cup final. Myself and him both played centre back against Waterford. We were only 21 at the time. So again, somebody that you trust. He's been a friend a long, long time. Like, we're really close, but you can easily just put your mates in, but just a terrific player. Got a testimonial at Dundee United, won a Scottish Cup. It's actually the 10-year anniversary of that today. But really, really good. Never dived in. I love playing beside him because he was a little bit opposite to me. I wanted to go and get everything and head everything, and he was real relaxed and chilled out, like. But really, really good footballer, and what a great.
And he had a great career in Scotland. I mean,
he's still playing, Con.
Well from there.
He's still playing. He plays with Montrose still, and just a terrific professional. Like, really, really good.
And is it two centre halves?
Sean Prunty is a little bit unlucky to miss out, but it's just trying to get Sean into my team.
2 centre halves then, is it?
I'm going to go with Jason Gavin, and the other centre back that I'd have would probably be Stephen Gray. I played with both of them at Drogheda, and Gray's are gotten a little bit unlucky with injuries, but in terms of Jason Gavin, we signed Jason Gavin from Shamrock Rovers, and he probably wasn't the fittest when he came to us because Rovers were in training that often. And he came to us, and his first month, he'd fall asleep in the car every day on the way home. Like, and I'm not talking about falling asleep, like just dozing. He was out cold. We used to laugh. We'd be sitting in the car, and he's like, "This is the toughest training ever. Like, I can't believe this." But he lost about a stone, and he just went on to be a really good player. I've never argued with another centre back as much as I've argued with Jay. Like, me and Jay just argued constantly. I always thought he could do so much more with his ability. Like, it was brilliant. And the higher the games we played, the levels we went up in European games or the top games against the Shelbournes at the time, Bohemians, Derry, and they had all that Cork. Jay would go up levels. Like, but what frustrated me was you'd be playing against teams and you'd be 2-0 up, and I'd still be playing flat out, and Jay'd be cruising. And I just used to laugh. Like, so again, he has to go in. He was terrific in them seasons as well with Drogheda. Had a bit of class about him as well. Stephen Gray is another one that I just trusted. I played right-sided centre-back with Stephen, or I played left-back, and then later on Stephen moved out to left-back. But he was actually in the team of the year when I signed for Drogheda. It nearly stopped me signing for them, Con. I said to Paul, I said, like, if the best left-sided centre-back in the league here. But Paul just said, listen, I want you, and I'll get you into my team. But Grazer was 6'3". He could run. He could, like, the chap had a ton of pace. His recovery pace was ridiculous. Good range of passing. Probably the bit that hampered Stephen, and it was funny because we sort of used to give him stick about this. He had a bad eye.
Really?
Yeah, he did. Yeah, he had a bad eye. Like, so we used to call him Squint Eastwood and stuff, and like that, and Squint Morrison. But like, very funny. Like, he would take it well, but really, really good professional. Like,
but would that affect him? Like, if he was going up to head a ball, for example, that was dropping from mid.
Yeah, it was. I asked him. I still speak to Stephen once a month. Again, he works at Rovers with the academy, and I said to him, what type of pass will catch you out? And it was the one that was put into the channel, and he would be under his feet. He was like, I used to see a few black dots, like, but Paul used to overly worry about it then. Paul Doolan used to think he missed that because of his eye, and it wasn't. It was just sometimes, like, I missed things as well. So I didn't have it, but he's a funny lad, and like I said to you, I played with him in different times, and I always got on well with him. And another fella that you just trusted, fitting them into me back four was tough, but in terms of as individual players in their positions, they were excellent. Like, you know. Yeah,
it's a measure though of what he achieved. Like, given the fact that he had that problem with his eye, to go on and, like, as you say, get into the team of the year and all that kind of stuff. That's good.
He did, yeah. In fairness, he's just such a good professional. Again, he just works so hard. Like, the reason. Like, I had to, every day in training, you had to perform, because I knew if I don't train well, he's going to take my position again. Yeah. And he was the same, but in spite of all that and that competition, you knew that, well, if I'm playing well and you're playing well, it's better for the team, and that's what it was about.
I think it was Gordon Banks, when he came, he played a game for St. Pat's against Shamrock Rovers. And he had the car crash at that point, and I think he lost the sight in one of his eyes. So he was a goalkeeper playing with one eye, which was,
Shields, the ex-Derry manager, his son.
That's right.
His son, Dean. He plays over. He played over in Scotland, played for Rangers and stuff, and he's missing an eye as well. So
he played internationally for Northern Ireland as well, didn't he? So.
Yeah, it was something we sort of gave him. It wasn't bad. It wasn't ridiculously bad. It was a small little impairment, but it didn't take away from what type of player he was. Like, really strong, aggressive, recovery pace was ridiculous. Like,
What are you going to do about midfield? Is it a 3 in midfield or 4, or have you?
Yeah, I'm going to go with, my midfield is probably the strongest bit of it in terms of getting me players in that I'd like to get in. So sitting at the bottom of it would probably be Paul Keegan. That I again came back to Longford from Leeds. I played with him before he went to Leeds. He was at Home Farm and he was a year below me. So his brother played with me, Ronan. And then Paul came up and played a couple of games with us. And you could tell he had a bit about him. Like one of the best professionals you'll ever meet. You know, worked so hard. It was in the gym before training, in the gym after training, done extra on the training ground, worked on both feet, worked on his set pieces. But somebody that just, from a centre-back point of view, and again, I'll mention it later with some of the players that I played one-off games with, the person who sits in front of your back four is massive for a centre-back, like really, really important. Because if a centre-forward was dropping in and I didn't want to go too far with him, you know, you pass him on. And Keego was excellent at just seeing them coming and looking over his shoulder and spotting which ones to pick and reading the pass at the same time. Really, really good at it. And it gave you that security of, you know, I don't want to leave me back four and follow him in here, because from a coaching point of view, you don't want to break your back line. You want to keep your back line as solid as it can. And if it breaks, there's gaps for people to run into. And how they break it is a centre forward drops in or comes off you. Keego was brilliant at it. And then he'd obviously be brave to collect the ball. Like I think he got better after Drogheda. I think he kicked on and went to Bohemians and was brilliant for them. And then he went to Doncaster. And had a long, long time in Doncaster. And another one that, just a great professional, great in the dressing room, never any bother, never any hassle, would speak his mind if he felt he needed to speak it. But can't speak highly enough of him.
Right side?
Wide on the right or inside him? Wide on the right would be Shane Robinson. It was between him and Alan Kirby, but I played longer with Shane. I had 4 seasons with Shane. Shane was just a powerhouse of a boy. Like I played left back against Shane, and I thought he tackled like a defender, and then he'd run across with his elbow, and I was thinking, who's this little? Honestly, like. Then I start going, well, I'll have a bit of that. But how I first noticed Shane, and you probably, Rovers fans might remember this, we were playing against Longford against Rovers in Tolka, and the keeper got injured. Tony O'Dowd got injured. Yeah. And the sub-keeper got injured. So there's no goalkeepers. And Shane walks by me to go in goal. And I'm like, where are you going? And he's like, going in goal. I went, you're a midget. And he's like, shut up. And so we had that, and he's laughing, and he goes in goal. And I have a shot against him. And he just scoops this up, like, and all the Rovers fans are cheering, he's waving to them, like. I think I think Steve McGuinness turns around, shut up and get in your goal. And he's like, shut up. But I'm giggling, you know, and you're just giggling, and you just see, because Shane just walks by me. But again, just consistent, really, really strong runner, was fit, was quick, was ridiculously strong, great professional, worked so hard for the team. Deliveries, he got better on the ball when he came to us, and that he worked with Paul and got to understand the game more. Right. And he later in his career, he moved inside the pitch, which I think he wouldn't have been able to do when he was younger, because his game understanding came with him. But another one that just, when the going got tough with Shane would step up, like, and you'd see him. You seen him in the cup final that we won. I think he creates the first goal. He runs, gets the ball, takes it off somebody, throws it in, gets set, and then he puts the cross in. Or very rarely injured, you know, always available to play. Really, really good really, really good player for what the League of Ireland was. Like, it was just power and pace and power from Shane. Like.
And another who had 2 spells at Rovers as well, coming back to captain the team for the first game at Tala on the return.
That's right, yeah. In fairness to him, even though we had 4 years at Drogheda, he would speak about Rovers. He said, listen, Rovers is different, Graham. You know, like, and you see that a little bit being away. And I don't mean this is in like I can say I play for Drogheda United and I play for Longford, and people will look them up now and they say, well, they're in the first division, you know, and you're going, no, I didn't. I played for them when we were successful.
Yeah,
and it's hard, but when you say Shamrock Rovers, everybody goes, all right, you know, there's an understanding that they're the big club, and you notice that when you travel and you move around in football, that you see people going, all right, Rovers, yeah, no, then. You know what I mean? Or Shamrock, they call them Shamrock over here.
Yeah.
Oh, Shamrock, yeah.
Hate that. And so your next midfielder then?
I'm going to play like Robbo high on the right. I'm going to put Ollie Cattle high on the left. Ollie came to Drogheda in my second season. I think we had, 2 seasons in he came. We signed him from Shells when Shells went into administration. And just got on really well with him, but just so consistent in everything he done. Really, really good professional, you know.
Quick as well, one of the real quick guys.
Quick, direct. You knew what you got out of Ollie. I know it's not a disservice to them when you say, like, you can count on him, but you can always count on his quality as well. Like, he'd give you a 7 out of 10 in terms, he'd always 10 out of 10 in effort, but and his quality would be there as well. Like, such very, very direct. Just love picking the ball up and running at people, and they carry it up the pitch. Again, really good game understanding. In our last season, the last season at Drogheda, him and Shane actually came inside the pitch, and Paul played at the bottom of it, and he just them boys just ran. And in the European games, like against the likes of Kiev and stuff like that, them boys, because you had legs in there, them boys just ran. But they also had quality on the ball and a good game understanding. Really, really top pro, great fella, great to have in the dressing room as well. So I think his career has just been so consistent. Like, you know, he's always been one of the top left wingers in the league when I was in the league. So,
and he's still working for players.
Still playing for Home Farm, I think.
The FAI now.
You know what? His wife is actually a great camogie player. She plays for Dublin, Emer.
Didn't know that. No.
Yeah, she was. She played for Dublin for years for Emer. Like, and she'd be funny because I said to her one night, he just doesn't stop. And she's like, yeah, he's an animal. Like, and the two of us were laughing. And so she's a lovely woman as well. Like, so hopefully his kids are athletic as well.
I'd say, well, they've good genes anyway, that's for sure. So who's next?
The 2 lads I'm going to play inside of that would be Keith Fatty. Keith was my age group growing up, and he's from Oban. Now, I know you mentioned Pats earlier when I was there, and I never signed with Pats. There was a bit of a thing where they weren't great.
Did you not sign? Because I saw, I'm going by Wikipedia, you know.
I signed an amateur for him to play a friendly, and the friendly was actually against Shamrock Rovers. I played Rovers in the League Cup quarter final. Tony Cousins came on and played. That was one of his last games. Cousin.
Really? Yeah.
Yeah, and he later became the assistant at Drogheda. But I played, and then they asked me to sign. I said no. I moved to Longford, but I travelled in with Keith a lot, and then he rang me when he was signing for Drogheda, and I said yeah. But just one of these players that you could just tell always had something about. I played against Keith when he was 10, and he was ridiculous.
Even at that age, could you see that this fella has international potential?
You don't know because you're 10 as well. So I wasn't looking at it from a coach's point of view. I was just thinking, how good is this guy? Like, he was stupid good. And we signed him for Drogheda, and at the start he struggled to settle down a little bit. He gets a bad rap for how he done at Drogheda, but he was really, really unlucky. And what I mean is, he came back for the pre-season with us, and I'd done a bit of pre-season work with him down in a gym in Tala, and he was ridiculously fit, ridiculously strong. We went on pre-season to Spain. He was our best player. He was our best player in all pre-season, like standout, played right midfield, but cut in. He was our standout player. And in the first game of the season, I think we were at Bowes in Dalymount, and he got a medial injury, done his medial, and it meant he was out for 2 months. And Keith, as Keith's alluded to it in loads of interviews since, too much time to think for Keith is a hindrance to him then. And he just struggled then. And in the end, in the summer, he left. But I played him all the way up internationally, and he just had something about him. He had an extra gear when he wanted it. always had quality. Set pieces were always brilliant, on the money, and then his game awareness and when to drive through spaces was brilliant. And like I know when he moved down to Birmingham, I spoke to him a bit, and he's working at Rovers now as well, coaching the kids, and I see him when I go back. But delighted, like he's doing well. But really, really good footballer. Like one of the top players I played with in terms of just quality all the time.
Yeah, I think when people are talking about their, top 20 players in the league of all time, he's always there or thereabouts. Held in really high regard, I think.
Again, Keith's obviously touched on some of the stuff, and that's his issues. But and that was always a problem, that he got in his own way sometimes. But
getting sent off in the cup final was an example of that, I think.
That's right, yeah. Just annoyed that he's playing out of position. We can't like Paul played when he came back for us at Drogheda. When he came back from his injury, Paul played him left midfield, and Keith wasn't happy with this. But then he goes and plays 2 seasons for Birmingham City in the Premiership at left midfield, and he ends up becoming an Irish international. So he was always going, like, if he ever reached his potential, he had the potential to be an international.
Yeah. And who have you got playing alongside him?
I'm gonna put probably one of the best young players I've ever seen in my life would be one of my mates, Stephen Bradley. Again, I grew up with Stephen. I played against Stephen when he was 8. I think I was maybe 7 and I was 9. We were both playing for Jobestown.
Yeah.
And we had a friendly against each other. And I ran out to tackle him, and he just knocked around me around the other side. And I was thinking, he couldn't even put my arm out to grab him because he just ran under it. He was small at the time. Or then you started to realise, like, hold on, this guy's good. Like, and then I'd signed for a team called Maryland, which were in a city at the time, just off Cork Street. And the coach asked me, is there any other good players up in Tala? And I says, yeah, there's loads of them. I says, but we want to try and get Stephen. So he went up and signed Stephen. Stephen then left and went to Lourdes, and he was just ridiculous. We were in the same school, so we played in all the school ages. Like, he would have been, when we were 16, like I was 14, Stephen was 13. We were both playing under 16s. I played under 18s. Stephen didn't want to play under 18s. And then I stopped playing under 18s. I thought it was just too much. But later on, then you're playing all these age groups up. We played Gaelic together. But just what the player, like, just...
It's funny because I think a lot of the younger Rovers fans wouldn't be aware of how good a player Stephen was. Like, the fact that he got the move to Arsenal and was knocking on the door there in terms of the first team is an indication of how good he was too.
Yeah, it doesn't do it justice. Like, he always had this thing about him. It was his awareness. He just understood the game of football. So it was effortless at times for him in terms of that understanding of the game and how it worked. Yeah. I just was like, how do you see that? And that's a hard thing to describe to a fan, because a fan sits in the stand and is up above and sees everything and then goes, why didn't you see that? And as a footballer, and the game's 100 miles an hour and it's hectic, there's a lot of things going on. Steve was always able to go up and have that aerial view of things, and that was his biggest thing, his awareness. And then he had a change of pace as well, that he could skip by people, and technically he was excellent. I still haven't seen, because I seen him every day. Again, as in schoolroom, and you played football with him every day. I still haven't seen a young player do the things he done as a young kid. Like he was training. Yeah, he was training with our Ireland squad, and he was a year and a half younger than everybody. He was, and then Stephen's thing was that he became, like, everything was easy for him as a youngster. Like, and he touched on this as well, that he goes to Arsenal and he's really, really good when he first goes to Arsenal, brilliant, and then obviously stuff kicks in from that. He's like, well, I can take the foot off, and but another one that just somebody that unbelievable trust in, like, you could just roll on the ball and he'd take it off you anywhere, brave like that. This because you're in football a long time. I was brave in terms of putting my head in and kicking things and throwing my head in anywhere, and I was also brave, and I'd help somebody if they're in trouble, that give it to me, I'll kick it out of the park. Everybody expects me to kick it out of the park, so I'll take the hit on that, and you can tell me I'm crap, but I don't mind. But there's also brave in terms of, listen, I'll take the ball in the tight area and play.
Yeah. And
Stephen and Fats and even Keego and Ollie, and they all had that. Listen, just give me the ball, trust me with it. His first game for Drogheda, I got him up because he was sitting on his couch after coming home from Arsenal, and he had the accident. And I was driving and knocking in from him every day. And I got him up to Drogheda to play a game. We were playing against Monaghan. The keeper kicks the ball out and it's landing on Stephen's head. And I'm behind him and everybody's shouting, free header, header. And I'm standing behind him sort of half laughing. And I'm like, I didn't want to say anything to him. I was like, I just said, you've time, Brad. You've time. And everybody's expecting him to head this thing. And he just pulls it down and knocks out to the fullback. And when I look around to see everybody's sort of what they're thinking, and you can see Paul on the dugouts looking at Tony so
got something.
I think he signed within 2 days of it. It was excellent, really good for Drogheda in fairness. He played in all the cup finals and the league winning team.
He was I know he was in that team in the cup final in 05. There was an old video played last night on RTE of the Irish team in 1974. They played USSR and won 3-0. It was Liam Brady's debut for Ireland. Playing in the team as well. And I just noticed on Twitter a few people today were saying, "Geez, I didn't realise Liam Brady was such a good player." And you forget how good players were, and he was that type of player. Comfortable on the ball.
I see that con a little bit with lads that their careers tailed off, and I don't even myself, we played in a period in the league when it had just gone full time. You had international strikers playing in it. It's up and coming international strikers playing in it. Majority of the teams are full time. It was a really, really strong league, and the likes of the lads that played in it and competed, listen, I've no problem. My career tailed off because I just physically couldn't play anymore. But you also had a time when you were in the top teams competing at the top level, and people forget that, and they're judging you off. Listen, I know I didn't play well at Rovers, but you're judged off that. The way, and you're like, well, I had a time when I was competing against these teams.
Those European games with Drogheda in the around 07. That was a really strong Drogheda team.
But it's hard because you're still playing because you love it. You're playing because, listen, I still love this. I know I can't do it the way I used to, but I still love it and I still enjoy doing it. But listen, that's just fans now. It's about what's instant for them, and I think I think that's why a lot of players want to keep playing because they're like, no, I was good. I'll show you. But again, the likes of the lads I'm naming all have played and are really competitive. And a lot of the coaches nowadays are coming out of that era. All the full-time coaches, a lot of internationals came out of that. Wes Houlihan, all them came out of that era.
Yeah. Well, listen, you're only allowed of one striker. You have 10 players in your team already. So
this was probably the hardest one because I've played with a lot of top strikers in that. But there's not one that you go defo 100%. The year I had with Twiggy at Rovers was a strange year for him because he started the season so well, he was on fire, and then he decided, well, he's not going to stay. That was his last season, and then with about 3 months to go or 2 months to go, because it's his last season, he just goes on fire again. And I was like, wow. One of the most hungry guys you'll ever meet to score goals. He just wanted to score goals.
Yeah.
To the detriment sometimes, because I used to say to him, you're actually, Twiggy was a really, really good footballer, ridiculously good. Yeah. But he sometimes he'd go, nah, I just want to score. And I'd be like, Twiggy, you can do so much more. And that sounds mad, but just one of the most ruthless strikers I've seen in terms of just getting goals. Yeah. I played with Desi Baker at Longford when we signed him, and we were told he was on his way down, coming after shells and stuff, a lot of injuries. And for that season, for us at Longford, he was brilliant. He was just a maverick, just really, really good. scored a hat-trick against Derry, one of the best hat-tricks I've seen. So he's probably unlucky a little bit to miss out. The one striker I loved playing with more than any probably striker was Tony Grant. Loved him.
Really? Yeah.
Yeah, like from it. This is probably me and Stephen have these arguments about coaching, like, because like Tony wasn't as good a finisher as Twiggy, but in terms of like just all round play, effort, commitment, like, and then he'd score goals on top of that. He wasn't probably scoring them as readily as Gary, but like one of the best trainers you see, run the channels for you, hold the ball up, win headers. Like him and Twiggy playing up the front together would have been brilliant. Like, because Tony just was such a very rare you get a selfless striker, and Tony was one. Like, he was just so selfless for the team. He was brilliant. We missed him when he left Drogheda. He left Drogheda a little bit too early for us, and we really, really missed him because he left that summer. Towards the end of the season, we'd no energy up front. We really, really missed him. But I'll probably go with Twiggy just for his pure hunger to score goals, like, you know.
So it was a tight vote. So I mean, when you look at that team, Graham, Manison goal, back four, Brian Shelley, Jason Gavin, Stephen Gray, and Sean Dillon at left back, wide right Shane Robinson, wide left Ollie Cahill, Paul Keegan in the holding role, Keith Fahey and Stephen Bradley inside, and Twiggy up front. It's not a bad 1 to 11.
Yeah. Listen, and do you know what, Con? Lucky to play with them, because they're all actually really good people. You know, first and foremost, really, really good people, and then really, really good teammates. Some of them are, you know, I spent 4 years with some of them. I spent longer with the likes of Stephen and godfather to Sean Dillon's son, Brian Shelley, who's in New Zealand, I still talk to. So these are really, really good people, but great teammates. Like, you know, I do want for any of them. They are brilliant, brilliant people. That's the main thing.
Well, listen, it's good talking to you. Stay safe. Well done to the kids for not coming in and interrupting you.
Yeah.
And listen, hopefully we'll see you back in Tala very soon.
Hopefully I'll see you soon, Con. And that else you need, just give me a shout. I'll be happy to help.
Listen, thanks a million. Great talking to you, and you look after yourself, all right?
You, Con. Talk to you soon.
Take care. See ya. Bye.